see if it's recording. Hey guys, it's Scott Shore with Empire Home Loan Corporation. My NMLS number is 225-998. My California DRE license 01074493. A lot of words. Mr. Zach Beach, go, brother.
Well, it's a pleasure. I'm excited to spend some time with you, Scott, and we'll dive into some creative financing. What's going on, across the nation right now?
So Zach is an expert. He and his father are experts on a deal called subject to buying a property that way. So what does subject to mean to the people watching this?
Yeah, buying a property subject to the existing loan just simply means that you're going to close on a property that already has an existing mortgage. Title is going to transfer to your company or a trust. It depends how you set it up. And then the mortgage will remain attached to that seller's credit. So I know the majority of your audience, especially when you're shouting out mortgage information there, may be used to the traditional ways of closing. So if you actually look at your closing documents, there's actually a section on there that says subject to. So when we go ahead and close on the property, subject to the existing mortgage will show up in that space where it actually will show that mortgage. So instead of paying it off with a new loan, we're actually just leaving it in place. So that's really what subject to is.
So who do you see as your prospective client to do a subject to? What's the reason why they do it, and how do you find them? And just give me a little breakdown how it works.
Yeah, so let me give you like the average person that we would be doing a real estate deal with that has a subject to loan. So it tends to be somebody that's in a financial challenge. So if somebody's in a financial challenge, it usually looks at it two different ways. One would be that they're behind on payments. So they're in a point where their credit is actually being hurt because they're not making their payments. They could be going to pre-foreclosure. And now we are in a position where we can actually come and catch up those payments and then start, making the monthly payment on that property and take that property over sub two. The other circumstances, if somebody I just read an article, and it's probably more, and you might have more information on this, and that is that you have buyers right now that acquired property within the last 12, 18, 24 months that bought the property at such a high number that now as the market's going down, they're actually underwater. So if they were to go ahead and buy a property or sell the property, sell this property right now, they would actually be coming out of pocket. Tens of thousands of dollars. So to give you an example, we bought a property in Connecticut. Guy refinanced his loan maybe like 18 months prior. So he had a HUD lien on the property and he had a loan. So if he sold this property, he would have to come out of pocket $15,000 to $20,000 if he sold with a traditional realtor. Instead, we just came in, bought it subject to sellers either walk away, didn't have to pay any out-of-pocket costs, and we just continue to make his payment now because we're contractually obligated until we catch him out one day.
So make sure you hear me on speaker. So that's all right. I'm at what I'm doing nowadays is actually shooting my videos from restaurants, local businesses. I'm starting to support my local guys, so that's why I'm here in a little different venue. But hey, that's what I'm here for, to help support. So
where are you? Tell us where you are in that local venue.
Cool. So I'm at a place called Barrios. It's a coffee place here in Land Park, and it's spelled Bario. It's right here at Land Park Drive and 35th. So come on, check them out. They got coffee, they got pastries, they got donuts, they got all this stuff here. Great stuff. Sergio's the owner. He's a great person, and I want to support our local businesses to keep moving forward. Back to you, so I appreciate that, sir. So on a subject to stuff, so you're taking on that property and you're keeping that mortgage on it. How does that person's credit look like after you do that, and what's your exit strategy for them? If they want to buy that property down the road, how's that work that establish their credit still there?
Yeah, no, all fantastic questions. So depending upon that person's plans in the future, there's a couple different ways in which you'd acquire this property. So most people lump in everything and they just say it's subject to. Well, subject to really means that you're actually closing on it subject to the existing loan. You're not creating a wrap mortgage or a mirror mortgage or any secondary mortgage that would encompass the first one. So you can buy it subject to, sure, but what that really does is it actually puts a seller in a not a strong position in order to get the property back. Nor does it help them off their debt to income ratio, because there's no proving, there's no paperwork that proves that loan is being serviced. So if somebody wanted to, say you're acquiring a property from somebody who's in their 20s, and they're going to want to go buy another property in the future, then you may use another instrument, which is what your attorney would draw up. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a mortgage lender. I don't have one of those numbers. So just a real estate investor. You would then use what they would call like a mirror mortgage or wrap mortgage that would essentially be created for the exact payment and payment schedule of the current one that's in place. So that way, that loan is now being serviced. So now that person could prove that that loan is being serviced, and then they could treat it just like any other mortgage lender if you had a rental, which could mean they could take 70 to 100% off their debt to income ratio. Secondly, because they're created a mortgage, they're actually able to now foreclose on you if you stop making payments. Versus the traditional sub 2, they actually have no repercussion because they're not attached to that property anymore. So to answer your secondary question, and that would be how is it someone's credit affected? Well, if you're a good real estate investor and you're living up to your contracts like we do, people's credits tend to improve over time because you're making the mortgage payments on time, and that mortgage payment is attached to their credit. So now their credit's improving, especially if you're catching somebody up that was behind on payments, that was getting their credit demolished over time. You now have caught up that payment, and you're now making those monthly payments. So now it's helping their credit long term.
So let's say you come into somebody's house, right? You work with the seller if you're subject to. So your next game after you get that property tied up under your company, who do you bring in? Break it down how it works.
Yeah.
When you bring it in, thank you.
Yeah, the way that we typically exit these deals is we look for and work with buyers that need time in order to qualify for loans. So it's roughly 60 to 80% of the buyers out there right now that want to go qualify for a loan cannot walk into a bank. Now, I don't want to say that all those buyers are good. They're not. But there's a good portion of those buyers that want to become homeowners and they need an alternative path. So what we tend to do is once we go ahead and acquire this property, we'll sell it on rent to own. So now we really have created a very specific process in order to help someone become a homeowner. They bring in a non-refundable deposit. They pay monthly payments to us as rent, and then they go ahead and they eventually work towards working with somebody like yourself, like a mortgage lender, that can now go bring this thing to fruition and pay off the original seller's loan. The secondary option that we do is we could potentially create another mortgage, like a wrap mortgage, or sell it on like a land contract for deed. Now, if this is the first time you've been hearing these things, know that you don't have to understand all of these instruments. Your attorneys will, and as you continue to structure these deals, the attorneys will help you navigate which one to use throughout this process. So now what you're doing essentially is you're now creating a different pathway to home ownership, which means that now you are becoming the bank, and now the end buyer is now going to be the actual buyer, and you're now the bank. So that's what you do if you sold it on seller finance or owner financing. So those are the two ways that we exit, which of course is really just an alternative way to create a path to home ownership. The secondary thing with a sub 2 though is the reason why we're able to create profits on deals in which are either behind or have little margins of equity is because time is our friend. Because we're able to create equity long term because there's two things that need to happen with a property. One is the property needs to appreciate over time, so we get a higher value. And then also the mortgage needs to be paid down over time. So that way now we're creating a delta or a spread. Also, because we sell these properties to rent to own, we're able to manufacture equity day one because we can sell this property at a higher price because our buyers need time in order to qualify for loan. They're not the traditional buyers, so they're willing to pay a premium. So that's how we're able to exit out these deals.
So as you know, from your standpoint, because I know you do this every day as your personal portfolio, so you have property managers watch your stuff here, and you kind of have acquisition guys out. How's that kind of look in your world as an investor?
Yeah. So we started as solopreneurs, right? My father-in-law actually started the original investment business. Then eventually my brother-in-law came in. He's our buyer specialist. So he only works with the buyers. I was the head of acquisitions. And then we had a couple support staff that we would do somewhere between, say, 4 and 10 deals a month consistently with that team. But so like when we help out a student in their market, we would start them off as a solopreneur and then eventually bring in a VA and then eventually bring in an acquisitions manager. So that way we can continue to help them up level and get to a point where most people want to be, which is like just structuring deals. That's why everybody gets involved. It's not to make phone calls. It's not to deal with negotiations all the time. It's to structure deals and to solve problems. So when we look at that, I mean, we as a family now have primarily poured into our students, because what we do is we more or less have a quasi partnership with each student in which we work with inside our program. So we are literally now in their business, helping them with acquisitions, dispositions, managing their portfolio, so that way they can maximize the return on that. So that's kind of what our world looks like day to day now.
That's cool. So let's break this down. So you have, what kind of classes you have, and what can people earn from each class?
Yeah, so we have anything from entry level. Hey, I just want to like dip my toe in the water. Go get our Amazon best-selling book. You can go to wickedsmartbooks.com, wickedsmartbooks.com, grab that book. It's absolutely free. All the way to, we have a 90-day program, which is really like our jump start, which teaches you all the fundamentals. You get access to our associate community, which is all of our students around the country doing deals. We call it the Wicked Smart community. Get access to a coach. We really start building you up. And then we have long-term relationships with people as well, which we call our associate programs, which is really where you get, us inside your business. You're getting group, you're getting one-to-one, you're getting community support. So that way we can focus on the three major things that help a real estate investor become successful, which is we work on their mindset, work on their skill sets, and we work on their systems, so that way we can grow this long-term and really bring you from solopreneur to CEO.
So you're scaling, baby, scaling it up. I like it. I like it. So let's say, how do people get a hold of you if they want to take the classes? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so we're on all the social networks, but a great place to start. So if you go to wickedsmartbooks.com, so wickedsmartbooks.com, go grab our free book. Also, another great entry point would be smartrealestatecoach.com/masters class. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook at Smart Real Estate Coach as well, or YouTube.
But you have 2 books. What's the other book called?
Oh yeah, we got 3 now. We have
All right.
Real Estate on Your Terms, a first Amazon bestselling book, New Rules of Real Estate Investing, which would be our second Amazon bestselling book, and then Sell with Authority for real estate investors, which was our third one. We just came out this year.
When is that released on Amazon? Where's that at?
Yeah, you can find them all on Amazon, or if you go to wickedsmartbooks.com, you can get it for free. So go pay $17 to $25, or go get it for free.
See, that's what I like about Zach. This is awesome. See, I met Zach on Clubhouse in 2021. He and his father-in-law are consistent, phenomenal people. You know the guys who are not real. You can see they lose their grip because their information is bad. But Zach's always been on point. His father-in-law's been on point. But great shop. So check him out, please. This guy's awesome. I appreciate him. He's on the East Coast. He's in Massachusetts. So, he's doing this long haul. But that's one thing about Zoom. You can be anywhere, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we're all across the United States, Canada. I know that some people are doing some deals and across the seas as well, and some areas as well. So I'm happy to help in anywhere in North America specifically.
All right, watch him on Instagram, call him up, reach out to him, start your program, because right now it's a good time to get into substitute stuff, because the market's getting weird. And as it gets weirder, and this time for this program to kick in. You're not taking advantage of people, you're helping people out of a bad situation. So recognize you're not being, a bad guy, you're being a good guy, helping people out. So thank you, Mr. Zach. I appreciate it, brother. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, my man.